And we're live. Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the show. It's Drawing for Tattooers. I'm James Wisdom, and I'm so excited for today's program. Um, I've got a script to read for you, um, and if anyone is out there, if you want to let me know how it sounds, I'd love to get some of your feedback. So let me know in the chats uh, if everything's coming through for you. Okay, so again, welcome to Drawing for Tattooers, and thank you for tuning in. It's Monday, July 25th. It's 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's 8 a.m. here in Chicago, where I'm streaming from. So, what do we got here? Got a message. Sounds good. Thanks, Gabe. Uh, so Gabe's with us in spirit today, like a watchful guardian angel. Yeah, let me know if the sound gets fucked, so I can so I can panic, right? All right, so let's get into. We got some business to take care of here, right? Okay, so this is a live stream. It started today, again at 8 o'clock Chicago time, 9 a.m. Eastern. Um, Let me know. Yeah. I'm reading the script right now. So, all right. Welcome to Guy Atchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Community, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are encouraged to join in these live stream events, real world events, share and inspire, ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We beam out nearly every day, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo art shows that have been receiving rave reviews. Um, Again, you can find the Reinventing the Tattoo app at both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Um, and so right now we're beaming live on YouTube and Facebook, as well as I think you can access it through the Reinventing the Tattoo website. Okay. You can also catch replays on our Roku channel, reinventingthetattoo.com/Roku, or search or listen to the podcast in your usual places, Apple, Spotify. Let's see, I think I can see if I can screen share the reinventing. No, I can't do it. I'll get the hang of it, gang. All right, yeah, reinventing. Reinventing the tattoo .com is your place to go, right, for all the latest on the community. All right, so if you are in the group Zoom, artists can feel free to zoom in by clicking the link in the events area. And if it's your first time zooming into reinventing, you could have a limited a run T-shirt sent your way, right? So join in, and you might get a free T-shirt. So that's worth the price of admission. It's free. So, all right, you can always get the latest event schedule notifications so you don't miss watching or beaming into your favorite shows. Reinventing 24/7. So I want to recommend these amazing shows to your friends, colleagues, or if it's 2 a.m. in the morning and you want tattoo shows instead of Netflix. 10 plus channels of tattoo reality TV. Wow, who wrote this? All right. All this and more at the official Reinventing the Tattoo website. So, mhm. Right. Okay. You can you can also enroll for the Canon, as well as all of the other fantastic educational offerings right on Reinventing the Tattoo Network. Okay. Yeah, so I've been getting a couple of messages saying that it sounds good, so I think we're doing well. All right. Oh, on Sundays, uh, here's some of our weekly lineup. Right on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, we have the Reinventing Drawing Group with Jason Leeser. On Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern, Drawing for Tattooers with James Wisdom. That's me. You're here. At 11 a.m. on Mondays Eastern, the Tattoo Weekly. 5 p.m. Eastern, Let's Talk About Feelings with Robbie Ripple. Mondays at 9 p.m. subscribers exclusive with Guy Atchison. On Tuesdays, 10 a.m. With Ricardo Sturdivant. And on Wednesdays at 1, Tattoo Now show. Thursdays at 6 p.m. Eastern, Tattoo Collecting 101 podcast. So just a really great lineup of content for you throughout the week. Something that you can put on in the background, while you're working. You're maybe getting started with your day, or maybe you're doing tattoos. I don't know, your customers would appreciate hearing, some of this stuff too. So it's for everybody. All right. I got another text here. Let's see here. Let me see. I'll let you in. All right. Okay. Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. I'm going to finish up reading my the page here, the page of announcements, and then we'll get to it. So so great to see you this morning. All right. So again, let's finish up here. So special upcoming events, real world events, July 29th through the 31st, 2022, Rubber City Tattoo Invitational in Akron, Ohio with Tony Urbanic. You don't want to miss it. Akron rocks. So sponsors, Raw Pigments. Raw Pigments Inc. Company that's tapping into the source, rawpigments.co. Tattoo Expo, World Tattoo Events.com, largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. Lots of upcoming conventions, and they are rescheduling like crazy after the pandemic. Everyone's trying to get caught up. D-Lies Pro, known as Dermalize Worldwide. Protect your art. If you're using Saran wrap, watch these videos of tattooers and see what it's all about. And of course, Tattoo Now, technology for tattooers, the leading edge in SEO and professional development for tattooers of all levels. And they are now accepting new clients, right? So go to write an email to Gabe at Tattoo Now and really check out some of the new things he's offering, because it's it'll blow your mind. All right, and last but not least, we want to thank Guy Atchison at guyatchison.com, the founder inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo. His new book, Bioencyclopedia, is amazing, and so if you are into the biomech aesthetic, you gotta see it. He also has a wide assortment of DVDs, machines, paintings. So countless thanks to you, Guy. Thank you so much. And thanks to Reinventing the Tattoo and the Reinventing the Tattoo crew. All right. Yeah, on Mondays, thank you to subscribers, Reinventing the Tattoo Business, Andrea Malcolm, BJ Betts, 3 hours, Bob Tyrell, 11 hours. I don't even know what we're talking about here. All right, be sure to leave positive reviews on the channel, help us get the word out. And if you would like to host an Reinventing the Tattoo event or sponsor the community or critiques, please email management at reinventingthetattoo.com. Yeah, okay, excellent. I think we did it. So, all right. Hey, good morning. So great to have you, and it's so great to have all of you as well. With me today is special guest Harriet Wisdom, my mom. Yeah, hi mom. So I'm pleased as always that you you had the time to come today, and I hope you want to draw and want to talk about drawing. We're going to do a few things. I think probably the best way to start these sorts of drawings. Hey, who's that behind you? Ah, is that Jerry Wisdom? Hey, Jerry Wisdom, my dad. He's with us too. So yeah, so excited to see you both. Thank you for coming. Um, Excellent. So today we're gonna let's see. Let me get some. I'm gonna share my. I'm going to. Uh, uh, yeah. I'm gonna turn on my iPad and just want to get warmed up with a couple of ellipses like we like to do. Let me see if I get my iPad nice and lined up for you. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Great. So I'm gonna go. I'll go back to my gallery. I'm gonna start a new one. A square is fine. Cool. Again, I will adjust the background color to make it just a little bit more, just a little easier on the eyes for the camera's eyes and for yours. Okay, so let's see. Also got dark pen. Okay, great. Excellent. So if you're ready to get warmed up, everyone, that's fantastic. Let's just start off with our 50 ellipses that is so much fun to do. And again, just remember, like, to keep it loose, right? Again, there is not really a right way to draw, but I like to practice in these exercises, really moving from the shoulder, and not being so focused on wrist and delicate hand movements. You're going to have to use it for drawing. So, so don't get me wrong. I'm certainly not trying to suggest that, if you draw a particular way, you're doing it wrong, but it is nice to, I think, to get out of your comfort zone and to practice a few different methods. So, all right, well, let's do it. Uh, Remember, an ellipse really needs to have two components, a short axis and a long one, right? They need to bisect, right? So that means that they're equal, right, on all sides. And so when you draw your ellipse, you can actually, when you draw them, you can turn them around and see, like, see right over there. I got a little, right? Try it again. A little bit thick, a little thick, but getting a little bit more balanced, right? So that's what you want. You want to try to find a balance. Also, ellipses can be any orientation that you like. Let me see here. Sure, I like that one. All right. So without further ado, why don't we get started? Let's do 50 of these and just take it nice and slow. You're just going to get warmed up. You're just going to get your shoulders warmed up. You want to sync up your eyes and your hands together so that they are feeling warmed up. Let's see here just a little bit. Yeah, sure. Why not? Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We'll run out of space before I know it, right? 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Very good. just add another layer. So we're at 20. All right. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. I'm going to switch and use my non-dominant hand for the last 5. So 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50. Cool. Right on. So again, it's a practice, right? It's a warm-up exercise, and I think it's really meant it's really meant to you know to just like give you experience, right? I know that occasionally I really have to focus and do a very accurate ellipse. And so just the more familiar that that I become with like how to make this shape and how to recognize when they're, some are good and some are bad. Like, out of these ones, I guess, maybe that one might be, maybe one of the better ones of the bunch. Maybe some of these wider ones, certainly with a wider sort of, footprint, um, you're much more probably able to get a good one. So anyway, practice it. You wouldn't want to go in cold, right? If you had to do one, um, and you never practiced it, like you'd really be it would really be a really big challenge. So anyway, so today, now that we're all warmed up, now we can do lecture time. So anyway, today, let's see here. Let me switch my camera back. Cool. All right, we're gonna talk about perspective. I know I talk about it a lot, but I think that it's just super important subject, and I prepared a presentation for us. So let me share my screen. All right. Cool. Let's see. All right. So hopefully you can. You're seeing my screen. Can you see the perspective to draw 3 dimensions? Yeah, great. All right. So right. Okay. Uh, how to draw in 3 dimensions. Cool. Also, I had a lot of fun with a lot of stock, a lot of stock assets in my PowerPoint. So, please forgive me for for my cheesy presentation, but well, I like it. So I hope you do too. Okay, perspective. Let's get into it here. I have a little script too. I may refer to it. Get it set up. Okay. All right. So yeah. what is this story about, and what is this larger problem that we're addressing? Why bother learning about perspective? Isn't perspective too tricky, right? Um, I think I hear this all the time from people, and my answer is that it really is accessible. It's really something that you can at least get a sort of a basic understanding about, and then there's a lot of tools out there, right? There's a lot of methods to help you sort of overcome this the problem of drawing in perspective. So I think just sort of like getting more familiar with it as a subject, it's going to help you navigate, some of the amazing tools that you could have at your disposal, right? So, all right. So we perceive the three-dimensional world around us in perspective. Thus, our perspective matters. But drawings and tattoos are often done on two-dimensional surfaces. So to convincingly draw things that appear to have mass and form often requires artists to represent height, width, and depth. So I get it, like sometimes, you may be, you may have to draw like something that's not on a flat surface, right? Or maybe even if you think about a tattoo on a body, it's certainly not totally flat, maybe anywhere. But for argument's sake, or for the sake of the theory here, really your tattoos are, sort of, they're going to be placed on the body, and for the most part you're just going to design them on paper, right? So you can really think about them as sort of a two-dimensional sort of surface, and then you're going to sort of manifest some sort of image, right, or design. And so again, two-dimensional, right, or flat things, just a height and a width, that's that's very graphic, or that's there's a lot of design that that really calls for that. But if you really want to express the third dimension, or depth, right, you're going to have to draw all three, right? And that's how we define perspective, right? Drawing things with three dimensions, height, width, and depth, is the definition of drawing in perspective. You likely already draw in perspective intuitively. Artists, mathematicians, and engineers have developed many ways to address the problem of representing depth. But how do you bring consistency to your style of drawing? So today we're going to focus on one method of drawing in perspective called linear perspective, right? Linear perspective is one way. It's just one way. There's, like I just mentioned, there's many, many ways to represent these three dimensions, right? But this particular method we're going to talk about, linear perspective, right? It's just one of the many ways. So, all right. Linear perspective is one way that artists organize visual space, and learning the basics is simple. All you need to know is where is the eye level. The great thing is that eye level is wherever you want it to be. The key is to keep the eye level of your design consistent. All right. Principles of linear perspective. To see perspective in action, all you need to do is look at the world around you. Just take a look, right? If you see height, width, and depth of any object or space that you're in, like room or something like that, you see the height of the wall, the width of the wall, how far away it is from you, right? You're seeing perspective, the essence of it. All right, so sort of laid out a few principles. These are like my own. This is my own contrivance after years and years of study, just to sort of boil it down into some very simple things to think about. So let's get into it, right? So the first principle of linear perspective: take note of your eye level. We will cover that in just a minute. What is eye level? But so the first principle: take note of your eye level. That's going to be like of the utmost importance. All right. Second principle: parallel lines appear to converge to a single point. This will become much more relatable as the as the presentation goes forward. But again, I would just sort of encourage you to look around and see objects, and I think this will start to make sense pretty soon. All right, third principle: eye level organizes space and objects into being above, below, or at your eye level. This is a very sort of straightforward or simple concept, but it can be difficult to manage it when you're drawing drawings. You're trying to, especially when you're composing, some sort of design. It can be very challenging to organize all the objects in a way that is cohesive and coherent. So, all right, first principle of linear perspective: eye level is the height of the viewer's eye, and eye level is the organizing principle of linear perspective. All right, so basically, if you are setting up a perspective for your drawing, you're thinking about your own eye, how you're seeing the world. But of course, as you show anyone else, any other, your drawing, now they've assumed that position, right? They're looking at it and they're going to see the way that you've organized the space and the objects in your drawing. So it's the same thing: your eye, the viewer's eye, and this is how we can start to think about eye level. So here's a little representation of the concept. So as we can see, there's a small figure in the foreground, and this figure is looking into the distance, right? Imagine that you're in the farmland, or you're in a very flat desert, or on the ocean, or whatever, right? There are sort of landscapes you can probably imagine where there aren't mountains or cityscapes or houses or something in the way. So this is the idea, right? There is an actual horizon, but we want to sort of cover that up with our eye level. And so naturally, your eye level will align, right, with the actual horizon, right? And so again, we're kind of taking these points, point number 3 being the furthest away, the infinity, right, as far as you can see. And then of course, number 2 is a that would be where we're drawing our drawing, let's say, right? You're going to draw an eye level right there, and that's how you sort of, you're representing that far off distance that exists. And then we're talking about the height of your eye, right? So you can see this figure is standing on the ground, and their eyeball is up in their head, right? So from the height of their eye, from the ground to your eyeball to infinity, right? And that's what we mean when we say eye level is the height of your eye. That, wherever you begin, the bottom edge of your composition, and then you place your eye level, whether that's on the composition or not, that's slightly more advanced. But just to start out, I like to just draw the eye level in, and that way I can sort of know, like, oh, this is the height of the eye as seen, from the viewer's point of view, right? If I were looking at a subject, and I'm going to draw it, it's, I'm going to have some relationship to it in regards to a perspective. I'm going to have a perspective, and that's the way that I can represent it for a viewer. If I can show them some sort of coherent, like, perspective of mine, then they might be able to engage with it and see it, adopt it as their own perspective. It's interesting. All right. Here's a diagram that really sort of probably more eloquently says what I was just trying to say, right? So the eye level, it is the horizon, right? But I struck that word out. We should forget about the word horizon, I think, for a bit, right? I want to focus on eye level as the concept, right? So eye level, I have it here, it equals the horizon, plus it's the height of your eye. So that's, if we go back to this, we can understand the height of your eye. All right, so from wherever you're standing at, and maybe you're in an airplane, right? Or maybe you're down at the bottom of the Grand Canyon. Same difference, right? You are at a certain height, and your eye is at a certain at a certain height. And so, right, So even if like we're below sea level, even if there are mountains and houses and stuff, right? This eye level concept, right, is continuous. Okay, and so don't get confused with the shape of the horizon. And so let's see if I can maybe able to. Can I annotate? I don't know if I can annotate on. Don't worry about it. Uh, you can see the shapes of the mountains. You can see the shape of the uh, you can see the shape of the house and the ship and the hand, right? Like basically, the hand is as much a part of this sort of this this shape of a horizon as the mountains are in a certain sense, right? But you know, if we consider eye level as this continuous line rather than sort of getting too hung up on the what the shape of the background is going to be like, this will help us organize our space, right? So just this is the I think this is just sort of this concept, right, drawn this way so you can sort of understand it, right? So you can think about it, and then this is really, so right from your point of view, what would you be seeing, right? And your eye level is going to be constant. Okay. Second principle of linear perspective: parallel lines appear to converge to a single point. So we say parallel lines appear to converge at a single point on the eye level. This is called the vanishing point. All right, that's might be a bit of language for some of the viewers, and I don't want to overwhelm you, right? So vanishing point is simple, you'll see, right? All right, here we go. This is let's just think back for a moment to our idea of the viewer, the artist. Someone is looking at something, has a perspective, right? All right, so now imagine that you are looking at railroad tracks, right? We know that railroad tracks are parallel, right? Maybe there's some twist or turn, but usually they're pretty straightforward, right? So parallel objects, these railroad tracks, they have to be side by side, otherwise the train wouldn't go. Okay, so you look down at your, you can imagine this, or perhaps you've done it before. You look down at your feet, you see these railroad tracks, and you can see that they are parallel, right? And now as you begin to look up and start to bring your eyes up to the eye level, right, to your eye level, which is the height of your eye. Even if you're looking down, your eye level wouldn't change, right? It would change if you got lower, right? So if you were to sit down, your eye level would change. If you were shorter, your eye level would be different than a tall person. But if you're, your eyes are at a particular height and you're looking around, your eye level remains constant. So I hope that helps, right? It's the height of your eye, and the movement of your eye is it's fixed within this, within this relationship of the height of your eye, right? So eye level. All right, so you're looking at the railroad tracks, you see that they're parallel, but as you begin to look down the tracks, right, these parallel lines appear to converge to a single point called the vanishing point, right? Right. We know the railroad tracks are parallel, right? I'm sure you can think of other sorts of parallel relationships that that you could apply this to, but let's check out this next the vanishing point. The vanishing point. So as we see, like there is this level of the background back here, right? The clouds are sort of in the sky, and these railroad tracks appear to be sort of going back into space. Well, this is what we've been talking about so far, that the eye level naturally aligns to the actual horizon, and there may be sort of things that cover it up, right? Design elements or other things, but parallel lines will appear to converge to a single point. This gives us a sense of depth. So if we're, it's again, if we can see some of these, you can see some of the railroad ties, the wooden structure that's underneath the the railroad tracks, and you can sort of see that it has dimensionality. There's a, there's like a front plane here, and and it has a width, right? There's a height and a width, but then there's also this depth. And this is the third dimension that we've been talking about. Height and width, those are two dimensions. So we say two-dimensional, like a piece of paper, even though it has thickness, right? We sort of we think about it in terms of a piece of paper, 8.5 by 11. That's how you describe a piece of paper. 18 by 24. You're talking about a height and a width ratio, and so that relationship is, it's the beginning. But then there's this other idea of depth, and so if we want to represent it, or bring about the illusion of depth, like drawing an eye level and thinking about how parallel lines might relate to the eye level insofar as vanishing points, you're really going to be well on your way to creating very sort of dynamic and interesting compositions that show all three dimensions: height, width, and depth, right? So third principle, linear perspective. Eye level organizes space and objects into being above, below, or at your eye level, right? This is, I think this is one of the more useful ones, especially if I'm drawing from life. There's a lot of, if you're drawing from life, there's a lot of movement. If you're drawing from reference, to any kind of reference, right? There's a lot of movement of your eyes. You're looking at your reference, you're looking at your actual drawing. And so I think it's easy to sort of get lost in what it is that's happening. So if you can consistently remember where your eye level is located, when you go to look at your reference or your subject, you're going to know I'm looking up at it, right? Or I'm looking down at it, or it's right in front of me. Something like this. And here's my illustration of that, right? I hope it's it's a little crude, but I hope it gets the point across, right? That these three blocks, one's in the lower register, one's sort of in the upper register, one's in the middle. We can see sort of this representation of an eye level sort of thing. This is the way that I think you can apply it, right? You can really start to think about, like, oh, I'm going to draw this room. Well, I can see the corner of, the beautiful corner where the wall meets the ceiling. Well, that's above your eye level, likely, right? If you're looking up at the upper corner of a room, that's going to be above your eye level. So you can think about it that way. That's, any of these planes, right? Of these blocks that I'm showing here, essentially, what are they? They're a set of parallel lines. And so they are converging, they're appearing to converge to points that are going to be on our eye level somewhere. So again, I hope that's starting to make sense, and I hope that that's something that gets you out of a jam one day. If you're really trying to draw something, you can't quite understand why what isn't working, and maybe it's a simple relationship of, like, you're actually, you're kind of forcing the viewer to look into something rather than to look under something, or even better yet, you do it on purpose, right? You do it on purpose. You draw an out of whack perspective because you are trying to express yourself in some way. That might be like an exceptional challenge, but I mean, if you learn these rules, I mean, you can absolutely break them. But it's good to know, right? So, all right, put it all together. Eye level is the height of the viewer's eye, and eye level is the organizing principle of linear perspective. The concept of parallel lines converging to a vanishing point can be applied to planes and forms, thus creating a sense of perspective. In other words, the sense of depth can be called foreshortening. So another word, we're bringing in a new term, yes, foreshortening. What is it, right? What is foreshortening? Suppose your drawing has a logical sense of objects existing within visual space and tells a story of distance or proximity to the viewer's eye. In that case, you will have accomplished effective foreshortening. I think if you were to couple up what we just talked about, that railroad track, sort of creating a, a sense of vast distance, and then an object, whether it be a block or an anatomical feature like this hand or something like that. If you can organize the space and relate relate this object to a space, right, you will have created a sense of depth, right? You're going to have foreshortening in there, right? You can't just draw the body. I mean, you can, but like if you're trying to create a sense of 3 dimensions, you likely can't get away with drawing the body completely in a 2-dimensional way, right? Like a paper doll or something like that. You may need to have some sort of foreshortening or some sort of arrangement where the viewer will be able to tell like what is closer and what is farther away. Okay. All right. To set up a simple linear perspective scheme, first, draw a straight horizontal line. This line is the eye level. Okay? And eye level is, of course, equals the height of your eye. Be careful not to confuse the shape of the horizon with eye level. 2 different things, right? Okay, so instead, draw your eye level as a flat, straight line for simplicity. The eye level you draw will likely become invisible after elements in your design completely cover it up. So, a little bit more on that later. But organizing your design elements with an eye level will greatly improve the readability of your overall design. And I think that's hopefully what I was trying to, expand on later, or earlier rather, that if I can organize my drawing in such a way that it has a sense of, these 3 dimensions, and it makes sense to my eye, it's likely that it's gonna be readable by another person, by another eye. They're gonna be able to also perceive this universal quality of perspective, because again, everywhere you look, you see it, right? What did we learn, right? Everywhere you look, you see perspective. Right? Everywhere you look. In fact, even if you're seeing sort of 2 dimensions, there's still some element of perspective there. It's maybe a little bit more subtle, but it still is it exists. Eye level is the height of your eye. We covered that, as we go along. And I think it's almost too simplified in a way, but it's a challenge to sort of understand. But just remember that, like, however high up you are, right? If you're standing on a ladder, if you're sitting on the ground, if you're in outer space, or whatever the case may be, the height of your eye is how you determine, the relationship of eye level to the ground, right? And of course, the upper register, whatever is above your eye level. Depth is foreshortening. Don't get hung up on that word, right? It's just describing like the relationship of objects and things to where your point of view is, right? Where your perspective is coming from, your eye. You're looking and there's something that you see. Where is it? How far away is it? How big is it? Which gets us to another really interesting idea, right? You can use this eye level principle to affect the appearance of scale, right? How large, how small things appear, right? A variety of scales will add visual interest and narrative to your design. It tells a story, because really what we're talking about is space, which is time. Space and time are the same thing. So if you create an illusion of depth, right? You create an illusion of space. You've essentially told a story about time itself, because it takes people time to move through that visual space that you have created. And so I don't want to, get too metaphysical about it, but it really is, it's true. It's what you're doing. You're talking about depth and space, and how far away is that car? How far away is How far away is that person? And you're going to discern that based on your own perspective. And then there's a whole, manifold of story that starts to sort of emerge out of that relationship. So again, you're you're talking about narrative here when you create a sense of depth. Okay. Additionally, the discernment of perspective will help in the placement of shadows and describe light sources of light. This is, I think, something that's so crucial. It can be so challenging to know, like, where do I put the cast shadows, or where do I, how do I know if light is hitting this part versus that part, especially if you're making it up, right? You can have all the greatest references in the world, but if you can't figure out like where the light's coming from, or what sort of plane of the object it's hitting, what sort of, what face of the object it's hitting, it can be so frustrating, and having a little sense of perspective in it, I think, can be really, really useful. Okay. All right. Um, but most importantly, using eye level will help bring consistency to the style of your design. It's very good, right? Conclusion. So remember, perspective means representing height, width, and depth. There are many approaches to the problem of drawing in perspective, such as layering, casting shadows, and photography. But linear perspective is an efficient way to be creative within constraints. We didn't really talk about it too much, photography, but if I'm sure you could imagine that earlier illustration of the figure looking out and seeing their eye level, seeing the horizon. This is what a camera's lens is. It's an eye. A camera's lens is an eyeball. And so it is going to include eye level in it. It just is because it's a feature of our physical reality, that we have this relation. There's a 0 point, there's a level. There's something that's above and below and left and to the right. And so when you take a photograph of something, or you obtain a photograph of something, all of the perspective is in place for you. How? Well, because the camera captured all of the physical information, and from a single point of view. And that in itself like produces this appearance of perspective. So whenever you're using a photographic reference, you're intuiting this height, width, and depth relationship. Okay. Yeah. Organizing your drawing with a consistent eye level is a great way to bring clarity to your design. I really do believe it, and I think so this might very well be just like something to practice every once in a while, but then don't focus on it, make it like your thing, like you got to do it all the time. But again, just like we practiced the ellipses earlier on in the lesson today, if you sort of practice drawing in this perspectival way, using linear perspective or some other approach, I think it's gonna work its way in to how you think about the way you make your drawings, right? One other thing we didn't really talk about, layering, right? I think layering is basically, it's foreshortening, right? If you put one thing on top of another, well, that's essentially sort of giving us a sense of depth, right? Like this is in front of that, right? And that's in front of so on and so forth, right? What's in front of the other thing, or what is wrapping around something. So layering is essentially this intuitive way of drawing this sort of height, width, and depth, at least a sort of a depth characteristic. To have any shape at all, it has to have dimension, height and width. Layering adds that third element of depth as well. So again, I think if you really honestly look at your work, you're likely already doing this perspective thing. And trying out this eye level concept, I really believe you're gonna, you really might find a lot of enjoyment out of it. Okay, right. So this is kind of my challenge to you this week. Imagine railroad tracks, a highway, or a sidewalk, anything that has parallel lines, right? Uh, you know, draw an eye level and draw those lines so they appear to converge to a single vanishing point at eye level, right? Another suggestion, like try to set up a box and figure out how to relate the sides to one another. This can be really challenging, but also a really great exercise. Can you kind of can you find an eye level, right? And then make those parallel edges of the sides of the box appear to converge at points on that eye level. But my final recommendation is to draw and draw some more. That's the only way. The only way that you can get at it is you got to draw like crazy. And again, I think it's the only way you're ever going to make a masterpiece, right? Is to make lots and lots of stuff that's not masterpiece, right? So you got to draw all the time. You know, and I don't want me to be hypocritical. I need to draw more than I do, but don't feel discouraged, right? If you didn't get a chance to draw as much as you'd like this week, try to jump back on it next week, right? And draw, and draw some more, right? Very cool. So that's the end of the presentation. Cool. How was that? Oh, here, I can't hear you. Can I unmute so we can hear you?
Okay, yeah, there's, as you were, it's so hard for you to see, but I did the eye level and then tried to put
Neat.
something in front and then look like something's in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And all
So
those
if
things you were just saying. Go
yeah.
ahead.
No, I was gonna say, here's what I see. So
Okay.
the roof
Mm-hmm.
looks like we're looking down at the roof. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yeah.
So so draw the roof like you're looking up at it. You're not going to be able to see the roof. You have to think about those. So the roof is parallel lines like you described it. So that's very good. Now make those parallel lines appear to converge to a vanishing point. And likely it's going to be the same one as your building. So that's otherwise that's exactly the point, is like you have an eye level, it's straight across, and then things are going to cover it up. You don't really, the only time you really see the horizon in that way is like on the water, right? So if you're out by the ocean, you just look at the ocean, it looks like a flat line all the way across. That's essentially this notion of the eye level. But that's exactly I think the thing to do was what you did. My eyes like,
Vanishing
let's see.
point. Yeah.
Yeah. And so exactly.
Okay.
The railroad tracks look good. Now, so the very apex of your roof,
Uh-huh.
make that go to that same point, for instance, right?
Okay.
Make the edges of the roof go to that vanishing point, and then it'll look like a house that has, that we're looking at, right? And it's
Mm-hmm.
um so essentially, like if we can see the top of it, we're above it looking down.
Okay, you're right.
But
Gotcha.
if we can't see the top of it, it's like this is a big imposing structure. My eye level is here, and so I can't see underneath it. I can't see above it. It must be a big object, like a house, right? In this case. So since I got you here, I've got another few minutes. I think we can quickly do one exercise or one sort of like brief tutorial.
Okay.
So let me share. Let me share and this one. Yeah. Okay. Good. Alrighty. So I've got my tablet here. Procreate's all set up. Here's what I want to do. I'm just gonna get rid of that. New layer. Terrific. All right. So I got a clean slate. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go here to this toolbar. Okay. And then I'm going to go to preferences. Oh shit. Yeah, sorry. So hit this little wrench and then go to canvas. That's the one. Okay. So I've got all of these different options here, but I've got drawing guide, right? Drawing guide. I'm going to click that on and a little grid pops up, right? Sort of, okay, edit my drawing guide. Let's go to that. Edit the drawing guide. Oh, neat. So here I have a variety of options. You may need to use a grid for some design. That might be something that could be really helpful. But it also has other options. There's a symmetry option, right? Where I can set a line for symmetry and do things symmetrically. But there's also one for perspectives. There's isometric perspective, which we didn't cover today, but is a very useful thing to know. And then there's perspective, which is linear perspective. And so I'll just turn it so that way it can make more sense. Yeah. All right. So all I got to do is I just have to tap to create a vanishing point. Let me see. Did it go? Come on. Oh, my stupid pen again. There. Okay. Tap. At least I can do it with so, right, I have basically I tapped down and I created a vanishing point and
Mhm.
it created an eye level for us, right?
Yes.
And so if you need to make multiple vanishing points, like you're going to do multiple points of perspective, right, you can choose a few, right, and you can stretch them out as you need. And I think I can make it a little darker. I hope. Uh, I wish it would just get darker. I wish it was dark enough to see. I'll hold it up a little bit, right? But
Mhm.
it's created this very intricate sort of perspective grid, right? Now, I hope my pencil's working, but for some reason it doesn't seem to be. When I can turn on the drawing assist, right? So the assist is on. Are you working? Ah, good. Okay. So we reduce the size of the pencil. So if I want to, kind of create this sort of this sense of vanishing point, right? This will help me create a little tricky, but the point is, oops, yeah. So a fun little shape, right? The point is that you can use this feature to help you to help you sort of work through some perspectives. But again, I would practice on paper. Um, I would practice on paper, some of these concepts first, and then you're using Procreate would be really effective. Let's go back. Just here's how you do it, right? I hit the wrench. I click the wrench, and then I go to the canvas option, and then I'm gonna edit my drawing guide again because I'm gonna get rid of that vanishing point and try to make that a little bit darker. Okay, done. And then let's see. I can turn off this guide so I don't have that grid in front of me, but I can turn on the drawing assist. Let's see if it works any better. Ooh, drawing assist. Drawing assist off, drawing assist on. Let's see how it goes. So a nice vertical line. It's doing it for me automatically. Ah, see? Now it's creating that perspective for me. Oops. Right? Um, just with 2 points, with 3 points, it was just not working very well. right? Neat. And so you could imagine, like, if you had to draw something like a castle or some other sort of, like, the house or something like that, this could help you just really block it in really quickly. Um, Again, just to see like what it looks like with the guide on, could turn that on, and there you go. So there's eye level, right? And there's some lines of perspective. They're heading back to the to vanishing points that are out here. Um, but again, I can use it because I understand it. I understand, like, how to sort of set it up. And so again, I would probably recommend, try it out on paper a couple times and just really take your time and think about, like, what it is you're looking at. Am I seeing the top of it, something? Am I seeing the bottom of it? Or is it like covering up my eye level, right? If it covers up eye level, it goes from below you to above you, then again, it has a sense of scale to it. It has a sense of, of like, you were going to relate it to your body in some way. All right, let's see here. Yeah, cool.
Mhm.
So I really hope that one that was helpful, and it was
Mhm.
also, hopefully there's some enjoyment that you get out of it. I think drawing in perspective can be like really powerful, right? So anyway, give it a try. Don't be don't think that it's this thing that that you have to become, you know uh like enslaved to it, right? Perspective, drawing this way in perspective, it's a technology, right? People developed it. It's like a machine, actually, right? If you think about, it's a contraption that you draw it, and you punch in information, and then it produces this results for you. So it's a machine. And just like with any sort of technology or machine, like, don't become enslaved to it. It's something, it's a tool for you to use to help you out. um, but keep it simple. Eye level, very simple. Just a flat line, and it's somehow describing the height of your eye, right? So anyway, I want to thank everyone that was able to join. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. So glad you could make it today. It was really great to see you. Um, and it's really great to have all of you. So again, happy drawing, and we'll see you next stream.
Bye.
Bye.